Does this thing still work? Are you there? It's been a while. Hi, I'm Pete, and welcome to Just a Few Acres Farm. What have I been doing the past 3 weeks, and Hillary too? Cleaning house. It's hot out here. It's like 127 degrees today. Very hot. She's giddlywonkers. Yep. It's just going to the scrapyard, so it just has to make it there. And I'll strap it down good. Beautiful morning. This was the Turkey Ark trailer. We tore the Turkey Ark superstructure off of it. It was an old car hauler trailer, and I couldn't draw it on its own. It's pretty rusted and whipped. Fuel tank, half a fuel tank on skids. This was the shade structure for the pigs. We would move it around the field, hook onto it, and pigs need shade. Hey, cows. Well, let's go. Come on, cows. Cows and calves. I know, Tulip. You want some new grass? I guess so. Well, come on, guys. Let's go find a new field. Round the bend you go. Come on, cows. Come on, cows. Mm-hmm. Nice heavy dew this morning. That's about all the moisture we're getting these days. Patty's calf is never far from her. This is one of the fields I cut for hay early. I think it was late May or early June before I did the rest of the fields that were in the last videos. and it's come back. This is the second time they're grazing it. It looks all right. It's awful dry here. It's like somebody turned off a faucet. It rained all spring and early summer, and then it just quit. So pasture is running low. They certainly do love this young tender stuff. I probably got a couple weeks left if it doesn't rain, pick up. And we're going to be dividing the herd soon, so that'll help. There'll be fewer on pasture. We've been cleaning up things, areas that had just sat. This was the old brood pig enclosure. Remember, there was a fence around here and it was all growing up with weeds. Well, we ripped them all out, trimmed the trees up, cleared it out. I'm going to plant grass in here. It's that kind of deal where you walk past an area every day and you say, I got to get around to that. And well, we finally got around to it. I also took the opportunity to clean up all this area where I sometimes pile manure. This area would still get wet even though the drainage in the pasture is beyond. It would come off this long barn roof here. It's probably 60 or 70 foot run into this gutter and down. So what I did was I just ran a shallow ditch around to catch that water coming off the roof, and then ran it over to where that French drain starts over there, with a little sump for water to sit in here and not directly connected to the stone area. The stone actually slopes in like that as you go underground. That way any sediment that's in here will settle out before it makes its way into the French drain. Pretty simple solution. Keep the bank by the barn clean, mow off this winter pasture. It's coming up pretty good. Went all around the fence here, and I'll get into all this stuff a little later on. Mount Scrap. It's huge. That was $155 worth of scrap. One load of 3 probably today. When I finished making hay, remember it rained and rained and rained. Well, I finished making hay and I looked at the fence lines and I said I need to go in and trim them. So I got the H and the sickle bar mower out and I went around every fence line. And I used to do that once, maybe twice a year. I didn't do it at all last year. I just been busy with other things and it got away from me, especially with the spring rains and the overgrowth. This winter, Hillary and I will have to go along the hedgerows again and push things back. About every 5 years or so, nature just keeps encroaching, you know, take back the thorny bushes that grow along the fence line. I bought a pole saw, a nice steel pole saw, go through the tree lines, cut the trees back. It is about once every 5 years that I do that. There's a swale that runs down diagonal on our property, and I hold the line on that swale. That swale does not get mowed or cleaned out. That's our water filtration system. I want water to run through that slowly. On both sides of that swale, I've held that line ever since I started farming. You'll see, you know, goldenrod and things growing along that when I hay those fields, but I hold the same line. It doesn't creep in. On the other hand, hedgerows in the woods will creep in. After I went through all the hedgerows and fence lines, I was on a roll. I started looking at, like I said, the areas I'd walked past for years or drove past and said I need to clean that up. Things like the pig area. There's an area over in the other side of this chicken field that just had stuff in it that I've moved around for 30 years now and never used. And I said, well, I'm going to line that up against the road, put it all up for sale, put a big for sale sign on it, see what sells, and what doesn't sell, I'll take to the scrapyard. Next onto the truck is this old International Harvester 2-row planter. We used it to plant corn. My grandfather did when I was a kid. It sat outside for 10, 15 years. It's all seized up. I thought maybe somebody'd want it for parts, but no, there were no takers. This old Montgomery Ward 2-bottom plow, I think it's beyond repair. Well, it's got really bad bottoms on it and the rear tail wheels rusted out. I suppose somebody could fix it up, but again, nobody was interested. And this set of cultivators, I believe they came off of a Super C. These are the rods that go onto the rock shafts, so this would be the front mount set. There's 2 of them here. I don't have the rears. Bought these at auction a long time ago. No takers. All that stuff came out of here. This is the edge of the chicken field. There's the old pole barn behind me. This was all overgrown with brush and vines and brambles and goldenrod. The stuff had been parked in here. I'd moved it up, like I said, a couple times. I said, well, it's time to go. I want to be able to mow all this, and probably eventually it'll grow in with grass and I can just mow it as part of this field. There were 3 old broiler boxes parked in here, like the ones we run in the field from when we used to run 6 broiler boxes. This year we're only running 2. We kept a spare, so we have 3 still. Hillary and I tore them down and sent all the metal for scrap. I guess one man's junk is another man's treasure. Certainly that pig shade structure, that half a fuel tank, they could have gone to use if I could have found somebody that actually wanted them, but there were no takers. What I did sell is I sold 2 old hay wagons that I had parked over there. I still have 2 over there that I rebuilt completely. It's one of those deals where you have more money into it than you can get for it, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those. I may sell them in the future. And then I had a total of 3 gravity wagons with nice vinyl tarps on them. I sold 2 of them, and then I had an old electric wheel company running gear that one of our eggmobiles was on. We had 2 eggmobiles. Hillary and I tore that apart, took the tin to scrap, and I sold the running gear for that. Running gears are always easy to sell. They're so versatile. Hay wagons, you know, you can build so many things out of them. I guess I'm just at the age where I don't want all this stuff. I'm done accumulating stuff. I want less stuff, and I want to be able to maintain the fields more easily. The problem is when you have stuff, other stuff grows up around it, and then it all gets covered with weeds, and you can't maintain it, or it takes a lot of labor to maintain it. I want to be able to just go and mow from the tractor seat and keep the farm neater. I'm waiting for him to unload me here at the scrapyard. It's amazing what you see here. There's a dump truck box, or well, it's a semi box. Big propane tank. That's probably a manure tanker there. Up there at the top of the pile is a 540 International, probably manure spreader. Looks like manure spreader. Down here we got an engine, and what is that? that a vac truck? Oh, it's a sweeper. It's a sweeper truck. Huh. Giant auger, probably off a combine. There's a gravity wagon sitting in there. I've seen whole hay binds in the pile. Combines, there's a whole pile of dozer tracks over there. Why pay to go to the movies when you can just go down to your local scrapyard and see the sights? Here he comes. $138 for that load. I thought it was heavier than the first one, but I guess the scale doesn't lie. I'm not much of a scrapper. If you have a farm, you go to the scrapyard because things accumulate. Fencing, wire, old posts, you know, pieces off implements, parts left over from mechanical projects. There are people that make a living off this, that, you know, buy stuff and take it as scrap to the scrapyard. I see them at auctions all the time. There's kind of a bottom to, you know, anything old you sell, and that's the scrap price that it's worth. And you can be more sophisticated about taking scrap to the yard than I am. I'm taking these implements whole, rubber tires and all, but if you've never been to a scrapyard, there's a whole list of different prices you get depending on the material and what kind of shape, literally, that it's in. So what I'm taking is going as long steel, and kind of the bottom of the heap at the scrapyard price-wise is tin and long steel. And what I'm taking is worth about $130 a ton. That, and tin is, of course, tin, thin sheet metal. That's what fencing wire goes as, and all that little stuff, you know, you might have. The reason that the stuff I'm bringing goes as long steel is that it's mixed. It's got some sheet metal in it, it's got some thin steel, it's got, you know, like the rims on the wheels, it's got some thick steel on it. Now, when you get to thick steel, you've got short steel, and short steel is of a certain thickness. I can't remember what the minimum is, 1/8 inch or quarter or something like that. And it has to be cut down into a certain size. It can't be big long. It's 3 or 4 feet, I forget the exact dimension. Then the price bumps up a little bit for short steel. Now, I could have cut apart with a torch these implements and separated out, taken the tires off and separated things out, and maybe gotten a little more money for them. But in my experience, it's just not worth all the time I would employ doing so. Previously, we took a load of aluminum roofing that we peeled off the old Eggmobile and Turkey Ark, and that was worth quite a bit of money. That's worth 70 cents a pound now, and I don't know, I got 250 bucks or so out of it. So aluminum and copper are kind of the holy grails at the scrapyard. Copper now is worth, well, for bare, you know, bright copper that's what they call clean, not mixed up with other metals, it's almost $3 a pound, and aluminum is at 70 cents a pound for clean siding and gutters and that sort of thing. And for those who've never been, you drive your rig onto the scale loaded, and then you unload, usually by yourself, but I had some help because the stuff was heavy. And then you drive back across the scale empty, and the difference is how much weight you've brought in. I got to dig a few things out of the weeds over here and over here, but I wanted to show you, this is the field that I seeded this spring, plowed last fall. I've sickle bar mowed it twice, and it's coming in good. I mean, you can see things like goldenrod sprouting up in here. There's some ragweed, but I just keep mowing it, and then when I lime it this fall, that'll really make the difference. This is a Peckway fluffer tedder. So this thing right here rotates this way, opposite from what a rake would, and kind of fluffs the hay up but keeps it in the windrow. I used to use this a lot, but it's really tired. It got so loose that actually parts started to fly off the other side, and oh, it's been welded up before, so I don't use it anymore. It's going to the scrapyard. These tires are pretty good. I don't care so much about tread, but they're not cracked. So I think they're worth saving. These 15-inch tires will fit on, you know, wagons when you have a tire blow. And it's not easy to find used ones these days, so I'm gonna hold on. If all you want to look at is paint, this looks better than some of the other implements I have, but it's worn in all the wrong places. Every bushing in it is worn out. It's been welded up in the center. The gearbox is all right, but the cams here, this has all been wallowed out and it's been tinkered on before, and everything's just worn out on it, and it'd take a lot to fix it, and they're not real popular around here, this type of tedder. This is a belt-driven buzz saw that I bought at an auction for 20 bucks or something. I don't know why I bought it. It just sat in the yard forever. And this came with the loader that's on the 656. It's a plow blade for snow, I guess. It's got shoes on it. And then I got another bracket, which got changed over to Quick Connect. So I got new use for it. It's probably a shame to send it to scrap, but I want it out of here. Look at this machine. How cool is that? Operator's way up high. Water heater. What's he gonna get next? Oh, he's getting light stuff. No? Guess he said he didn't like that. Water heaters. That last load was another $113. Not a bad day's haul. There's more to go. Other small stuff here and there on the farm. I have an old Farm All H over here underneath the vines that I used for parts when I redid mine. It sat here for 20 years. The old saying is it ran when it parked. It did run when it was parked 20 years ago. I'll probably sell that for scrap plus a little bit. I don't want to take that to the scrap yard. Hopefully somebody will be in need of a parts tractor. And then this is a 656 hydro that I took the diesel engine out of. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I hate to see these kinds of things go for scrap. And then clean up this whole area around here and mow down all this goldenrod. I am big into cleaning up all these areas now. Take down the old chick brooder house that we used to use, you know, the hoop house. Take that down in the yard there and clean up around the house and just keep going. As for this old F20, I don't think it's going anywhere. Well, I might move it, but I don't think it's going anywhere else. It's a nice piece of yard art. I don't ever intend on restoring it. I I like the way it looks out here. I like to look out the window at it. Our farm is always changing. If you look back at a video from the beginning of this YouTube channel, the farm was a lot different than it is now. We had a lot more livestock. Hillary and I were running and running all the time, taking care of what was immediate in front of us, caring for the livestock, going to 4 markets a week. We could never take care of what I'm doing now, cleaning up all this stuff. And then a couple of years ago, we started to slow down. I said, well, it's time for us to go into a sort of semi-retirement and focus on the farm enterprises that we enjoy the most, them being, for me, the cattle, beef, and for Hillary, the poultry, the layers, and the broilers. Those are great enterprises. They're profitable for us still. And so the farm's changed quite a bit. And this cleanup that I'm doing, I never would have thought of doing those 6 years ago because I never had time to do any of this stuff. Now it feels really good to clear out these areas. It's like a piece of something that I worried about for years and years leaves every time I tidy up someplace and get all the junk out, and it's off my mind. So I'm enjoying it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.